Welcome back to Dan and Louise's Ride Across America.
Well, the countdown has started. Only 12 days left before our departure. We are so anxious. We are looking forward to live this unique adventure, and we are just so excited to finally get there.
Last 2 weeks means no riding, just resting, so that our legs are ready for to attack the mountains and the ride in general. So today we'll be looking at what exactly is the ride, where will we be starting, and where are we ending, and what's in between. So let's get going. Okay, so what exactly is the route that we're going to be taking, and how did we determine that? So there's a lot of resources out there, definitely, to help anybody that's looking to to plan a trip like this. What we used in particular was, as a first part, was talking to people that we knew, like I mentioned earlier, Bob and Barbara, for example. But also from our experience and what we wanted to see, we looked into different state tourism information or cycling specific sites relative to touring the different areas. On YouTube, I can definitely recommend Ryan Van Duzer, who has been doing this for a long time, cycling in different parts of the world, etc. And he helped us calibrate our attitude, or at least my attitude, because cycling for me, road cycling, has mainly been around pushing the envelope, going faster, going further, challenging yourself on mountain passes, etc. The touring experience is going to be a totally different experience. It's not a race at all. We're in no hurry. We only have one firm date that we need to meet. So the attitude is important, because we want to enjoy this as an experience, as we do when we RV and go into different areas just to explore, to meet people, etc. Again, Ryan Van Duzer is a good resource. The Bicycle Touring Pro as well is another one that we've used, and there's others, the people that have toured in Europe, etc. that we've used. In terms of the maps, let me show you what we as with any road trip, we start with Rand McNally, because we're old-fashioned and like maps. As you can see, one of these has had a very useful life. It's pretty beat up, and we also use Google Maps and different map applications to determine potential routes of interest. Then we use the Rail to Trails Conservancy, and as you can see, what we ended up settling on is the adventure touring set of maps and routes, which I will go through in a bit of detail here. So Adventure Cycling is an association that was created in 1976 for the bicentennial, where two young individuals apparently decided that they wanted to explore the U.S. With their at bike pace, I should call it, and they planned this trip and talked to people that they knew, etc. And by the time they left for the ride, there were 4,000 individuals that did this ride. So they figured out that from a business perspective, there's a lot of demand for this. So why don't we create this organization that is going to help develop the routes that make riding across the country, across the US and Canada, easier, more appealing, etc. So they worked with the communities, they worked with states, to, for example, if you're going to pave this road, a secondary road, if you're going to pave the road again, could you pave a shoulder so that we can, so that the cyclists have a safe area to ride? In a municipality, for example, make sure that it is friendly to cyclists. If there's a park, can it be used for camping or overnight? If so, would you mind installing showers, bathrooms, etc.? So I think that's what we're going to see, and that's what was developed over the years and to create these routes. So as you can see, we purchased quite a few of the maps. Let me go into show you one of these maps. They're very, very well made. Okay, so this is a Northern Tier map, and we'll talk about the routes shortly, but which shows you basically which part of the route here. It shows you which part is going to be in as part of this map, and then you get the more detailed here with each one of these blocks being blown up with a lot more detail. Okay, you can see each one here. So section 71 of the route up here, 71, 70, 72, 73, etc. And that refers to these maps over here. And then in addition to the specifics of the riding that are detailed next to these areas, obviously on the map itself, you have the different areas of interest, whether it's a campground, a restaurant, bike shop, etc., or a youth hostel or something like that. And then in addition, there's all the field notes and information on the temperature, nature's bounty here, for example, the information on the town specifically, emergency information, as well as different information on the services that are available on here. So again, very, very well made, very well developed over time. Okay, Adventure Cycling have developed many routes over the years, and this is a map of all of the different routes that they've created. So the traditional route is actually from Virginia, going directly west, and then going up through Yellowstone, and then over to Astoria, Oregon, over here. Now they've also had the Northern Tier route. Okay, they have the Lewis and Clark route. They have the Southern Tier, which you would typically do more in the winter because of the heat, which goes from San Diego to Florida. And then you also have the Route 66. You have the Continental Divide, Pacific Coast, Atlantic, etc. So there's just many, many, many routes that are suggested. So what we are doing from a high level point of view, we are taking the traditional. We're going west to east. We are going to start in Astoria, Oregon, take the traditional Transamerica Trail, and instead of going to Yellowstone, because we would be arriving the weekend of 4th of July according to our planning, everything is booked, so that does not make any sense. So we will be getting onto the Lewis and Clark Trail from there to go to Bozeman, Montana, and then to Billings, Montana, before we go south on our own, not on a route, but on our own, down to Wyoming, where we will be getting onto the Parks, Peaks, and Prairies, which is a new route that they've just created. And we'll be going east on this all the way to Mount Rushmore and then Rapid City, South Dakota, before we go through the Badlands, a bit further east on this same trail. And then after that, we will be heading south on the Lewis and Clark to get into Iowa. We're actually going to be doing a ride across Iowa from west to east, and it's an organized ride. It's called RAGBRAI, where they accept the first 20,000 participants, and it lasts 7 days. Average distance, I would say, is 60 to 80 miles per day, but they carry the bags, and each town along the way hosts us and where so we will be sleeping in the parks with our tents. They've set up showers and bathrooms, etc. There will be meals supplied. There will be music and entertainment, etc. So it should be a great experience, something like that we've never done. So it should be very, very nice. Then from there, we're actually going to be going on rail trails, which take us all the way from Iowa, from Lincoln, Iowa, I think it is, all the way to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and that's all on rail trails, so no roads at all, where we will be taking the ferry, okay, across Lake Michigan, and then arriving in Ludington, Michigan, and then again we will be taking this Lake Erie Connector trail, which is actually a rail to trail as well, coming into Canada, in Ontario, assuming that the borders are reopened, and where we will want to do the northern part of the Northern Trail along Lake Erie, which apparently is very nice according to Jeff and Sandy, crossing back into the US around Niagara Falls, because we didn't want to go through Toronto in the northern part of the northern shore, I should say, of Lake Ontario. So we will, from here, we will be getting on to the Northern Trail, crossing the Adirondacks, crossing Lake Champlain at Point Henry, and then going up through Vermont, beautiful mountains, and into Sherbrooke, into Canada, into Quebec, near Sherbrooke. So that is our end destination, again assuming that the borders are open and that we don't have to do quarantine once we come into Canada. So that is the overall path. Now in a more detailed, we also have it on this map that we've created for our grandson Miles.
Okay, so that was exciting. So I mentioned during the presentation of the route that we were trying to combine a few different things. We're trying to combine the rail to trails with the adventure cycling routes, plus RAGBRAI, etc. So in order to have a route that would give us an idea of what was feasible, we did this day-to-day planning, where you can see the town in the state that we're planning on staying for each one of the days as we start on June 5th, and where the options for where we could be staying, if there's a bike trail that we'll be taking, etc. And over here we have the daily mileage, the cumulative mileage, and then the elevation gain. So the elevation gain combined with the day distance is important. And the total, if we follow our plan, and it's just a plan, so we'll see how this all works out. I'm sure there will be some kinks along the way. It takes us on over 4,300 miles or 7,000 kilometers with an elevation gain of 83,000 feet, which is pretty daunting in itself. Although when you look at it and you break it down into digestible morsels, we can see that the maximum elevation gain that we have to do is actually 4,500 feet, which is significant. Although we did ride Mount Lemmon, and which was over 6,000 feet elevation in approximately 4 hours. So we have the whole day to do this. So I think that all of this is very doable, and that's the beauty of doing this. So it gives you confidence or not, and you can adjust accordingly. But in the feasibility of it, and having a destination where we can stay in the evening, as well as meeting the deadlines we've booked. One place in Vida, for example, that we need to make, as well as the start of the RAGBRAI ride. So this is the route that we have planned. These are the resources that we have used, and we thank you for tuning in. Until next time.